Yo, and welcome back to Tales of Arc. And if you're enjoying the video, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. But anyways, back to some Mabinogi. I believe I was gonna do G7. So I'm probably gonna do that, but before that, I am probably going to do the Tarlac request. Because it's annoying me. And I'm OCD about all these quests. Might do some of these side quests off screen if I stop being lazy to do them. But yeah, let's do this side quest. I'm not sure how long this quest line is, but it's part of G3, so I'll just make it like its own playlist or whatever. Anyway, so it's called Dark Knight. Not to be confused with the other Dark Knight that has G3 in it. This is just Dark Knight, I think. I looked it up. So it's just Dark Knight. And I'm not sure if you can refuse who... Oh, I heard a gun. I'm not sure if you can refuse at the beginning or at the end. But right now, I'm not sure if I want to be a Dark Knight. I don't even think transformation is that important later on. Look, I could be wrong. But I'll see and find out soon, I guess. But anyways, let me start a timer so I don't record too long and then have to edit a 5-hour video. I'll make each episode maybe around 30 minutes and then I'll just cut whatever extra out. Alright, Tarlac said gotta drop something. Alright, so it's been a while since I played, so I'm a bit rusty.
You are my lucky charm. I hold you close in the night in my arms. And when we open our eyes, my worries fade away. 'Cause you gave me your heart in the light of day, in the light of day. When we open our eyes, my worries fade away. 'Cause you gave me your heart in the light of day, in the light of day.
Alright, boss time. Should be easy, because I got fighter and skill now, which is great for one-on-one if they don't have any standards. 10 mil prize. Nope. Never mind, dude, you went down in one punch. I'm not Saitama. Wow. Didn't put up a fight. Now I know I'll be montaging every dungeon going forward. I thought this was short. Oh, thank you guys for picking up my gold. That's really helpful of you. Alright, who do I talk to now? I wonder if they're gonna give me some more lore on the Dark Knight. Aside from being the servants of Maka. Yep, I'm going to Tarlock. Still, I'm still so salty that they changed the whole night-day thing for Tarlock after... Is it Tarlock or Tarlac? I think it's Tarlac. Right? Tar and then Lack. For Tarlac after the whole game update. Yeah. Thank you, Ursula, but this isn't a full suit of armor. It's just a piece. Yeah. Well, I suppose it's okay, since Dark Knight armor is said to regenerate over time. Twilight gives the piece of armor a closer look. Dude, that thing looks badass. Actually, as much as I hate to be the bearer of bad news, this piece alone won't be enough. Why do we need the armor again? It's not quite large enough. We'll need another piece before there's enough for the regeneration to kick in. I'll give you the reward I promised, but would you mind helping me out a bit more? Please ask around to find if anyone knows the whereabouts of any Dark Knight armor. Gauntlet, helm, anything would do. I sense you're wondering what it is I'm trying to accomplish here. You see, I read that Dark Knight armor emits a certain sort of energy, a signal if you will. If that's true, are you looking for Raori? Then, if I could just identify the signal produced by a complete suit of armor, I might be able to ascertain Raori's whereabouts. Please, Ursula, help me. If I'm not wrong, aren't you stuck here? Or something? That's why you're a bear? Or maybe I have the other way around. Maybe he has to transform to a bear, but he's not stuck here, he's just hiding here. Right? And the reason he's hiding here because he doesn't want the Formers to find him after the whole fake Morrigan betrayal thing. Well, I mean, technically, she didn't really, but you guys know what I mean. Alright, so the second quest came in. Apparently, the Dark Knight armor have a cohesive substance in them that attaches themselves to and automatically restore itself to its original form. I believe that if we gather up more pieces, we'll be able to get the Dark Knight armor. Talk to other people using the keyword I gave you to gather up the armor pieces. So it won't tell us where. I feel like I might know. I think I forgot his name. He said Dougal? Duncan. Yeah. I feel like Duncan might know. I'm not sure. Didn't he tell us not to become a Dark Knight or at some point or something? Because he is a Dark Knight, right? I think it was a flashback or something, or shown an image of it. Oh, this is in the quest. Coming of age, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Start a conversation. Yep, I became a Knight of Light. Piece of Dark Knight armor. Isn't that an item a bit ominous? What? It's needed to find Raori? I understand this is done in search of a friend, but I wonder if this will bring irreparable harm to you. Anyways, please be careful. Darn it, Duncan, I thought you'd be the one to help me. Alright, who else I think we might know? I mean, I can just ask random people until I find somebody, I guess. I feel like the church would be not a good place to go ask. Maybe Crystal? I mean, she's knowledgeable. Alright, Crystal, do you have anything you can let me know? Oh, no. I don't really know, but if you find out more, will you please let me know? Alright. Okay, there's only one more person, and then I'll look it up, because I don't want to waste time. Alright, where's Price? I know he's currently a Knight of Light. Or was. If he was I think he was, because if he was still one, I mean, then he would be more useful during that fight with Ezra. How do you open the thing? Is this it? No. Oh, okay. Dungo Isle. Isn't Dungle Isle that one place from Harry Potter? I think where the bricks open up. I only seen one Harry Potter movie. The one with the chess piece and a snake? Or is that two separate movies? I think a phoenix comes in at one point or something. But yeah. Ursula, how's it going? Yeah. So, do you know? I can't really give you an answer to that right now. Let's... Okay, typical NPC's answer. Alright, I'm gonna look it up now. It said, talk to someone named Piaras. Who the hell is Piaras? Where is he? Per Canal's innkeeper. What? I have never met this guy in my entire Mabinogi life. Well, in my current life of this character. I met his sister, though. Or his niece, or cousin. I think it's his sister. Why would he have a piece of armor? Is he a Dark Knight too? I mean, people probably... Alright. There's no way that he just randomly... Hey, what's that shiny piece of dark armor right there? Can't be that many Dark Knights. I only seen 2. And the rest of their troops were just ghost guys. Alright. Oh, that's a lot. You were looking for a piece of Dark Knight armor? Haha, you are full of curiosity. I hear that the piece of Dark Knight armor is an ominous item to hold on to. Since the Dark Knight armor is made out of material from that are laden with special magical powers that enhances the power of formers, the power of evil, I hear that it's got a lot of problems. Where did I hear this? Pierce, start looking around. That's suspicious. I think it's in this book. You should at least read it on your spare time. Don't worry, I'm giving it to you for free. Goodbye, Pierce. I'll see you later. Oh, he doesn't give you a piece armor. He gives you a book about the armor. I was gonna say, someone who just told me that you shouldn't hold on to dark armor piece, but then ended up handing me a dark armor piece. That's pretty suspicious. Like, do as I say, not as I do, right? Or is it does? It was something. Jesus, dude. 16 pages of so much dialogue. Oh my god. Oh. Should I read this? Yeah, why not? Alright, let me get ready. Oh. Am I recording? Because this better not be for no reason. Dark Knight and the Armor of Blackness. Alright. So, aside from being ominous and dark energy, what does it do? I was looking for a job some time ago. As many young people of my age do. I wish I could make this bigger, because I have to squint my eyes. And they're already squinted, because... Alright, let's move on. When I was introduced to a man who had left his own family to pursue research all alone in his life. Gotta de-summon you. Let me de-summon the rest of you guys too while I'm at it. You have a chair. Alright. He left his family in pursuit of his research all alone in his house. According to the man, living and working all alone for some time now had made him start to feel frustrated and somewhat isolated. He wanted to hire me to relieve some... What is that? Of that frustration? Why is that text just glitched? Why is it like that? Did someone scratch it off? So this man became my master. His name was Wallace, and the subject of his studies were the Dark Knights. Who were these beings cloaked in their armor of blackness, that they are able to exhibit such superior powers? No, they can only exhibit... What is it? Intelligence? Will? Right? What are the other stats? And luck. No, index, right? Because it's random for Dark Knight. Isn't it? I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. How is it that they are able to antagonize Paladin himself? And who are they to remain in Iran all this time under such a veil of secrecy? My master spent all of his energy on the studies of Dark Knight, and by my master's side, I faithfully assisted his investigation. Come to think of it, my master was so absorbed in all the ancient manuscript, relic, paintings, and people's testimony that despite his almost strangely obsessive fixation. Oh, I gotta stop my timer because it's probably gonna be a while. I never felt tired of work or felt that I was not being treated right. My master was a very mild-tempered and thoughtful man. I was very happy with the work I was doing, and I felt fulfilled serving my master. I think he too saw me as a dependable, trusty assistant until he sells you off or backstab you or betrays you or use you as an experiment. It was about 3 months into my job when my master disappeared without a trace. At first, I simply thought that he had heard of some lead to a newly recovered armor or object that would lead to some part of an armor, and thought that he had urgently left to investigate the site of discovery because that is what he would do. In fact, quite frequently, but when days pass and then months pass without a word from my master, people begin to create search parties to look for the whereabouts of my master. But despite all of our effort, there was no trace of him anywhere to be found. After about 6 months, everyone began to assume that my master was dead. Wow. His family wished to at least recover his body, but at that time, that seemed like an impossibility. The family member decided to burn all of my master's belongings, and because of my contract with my master was still in effect, I helped them organize all of his belongings. Throughout this process, I realized that burning the master's research finding would be wasting away the bodies of his life's work, so I decided to keep the records of his work in a separate place. While looking through his belongings and research document, I started reading his manuscript when I realized something that literally shocked me to the core. To the point that I nearly lost my breath and felt an electric shock run through my spine. Wow. I felt like that sometimes. When you just know, you know. I had always thought of the Dark Knights as equally powerful as the ancient formers, but my throat. Get a drink. All right. Oh, where was I? As the ancient forms, but Master had already clearly described all about the Dark Knight's existence and characteristics in this manuscript. Not to mention that he had, in fact, described in detail his possible whereabouts. I lost a couple of nights' sleep, thinking about what I should do, and decided to compile his manuscript into a book after carefully persuading the master's family. If you are reading this, I am dead. If you are reading this book, I presume that you are someone that is deeply interested in knowing about the Dark Knights. I hope that by reading this book you will realize what dangerous beings these Dark Knights really are, and deeply consider the meaning behind their armor. I mean, don't they serve Maka? And I mean, that's about all I know about it. They're like, what was it? They had a specific title where they're called the Army of Darkness. They serve under Maka and they do her will. So there's only 2 left. Unless there's more. Ooh, what dangerous Dark Knight really are deeply? Yeah. My hope is that you will decide to protect your own precious life, knowing how life can be completely ruined by your own curiosity. I mean, what can you say? Curiosity killed the cat. I mean, I remember I used to say that when I was younger in high school. It was so cringy. Oh, I was the edgy as a boy. Oh my. I remember. I don't want to think about it. Wallace manuscript. When I first read that a certain group of formers wear a piece of the Dark Knight's armor as an amulet. A certain group of formers, okay. Felt my heart pounding with a surge of excitement. Finally, I thought to myself, I have discovered a way to get a hold of a piece of the Dark Knight's armor in my hands. I always enjoyed stories about the Dark Knights, ever since I was a child. There are a number of known legends about Dark Knights, but one of the things that always interested me the most was the fact that the Dark Knights have as much colorful history tales of heroism as bro, like my eyes, like jeez, as why is this tales passed down and be about the knights. It's like it's confusing. Like I'm reading it from line to line, but sometimes it just gets jumbled up for me, so it's making it hard for me to read. I wish they had a enhanced version where I can make it bigger, but it's an old game. As far as something too difficult for them to do. Tale passed down about the Knights of Light, legends of heroism. Even such tales of heroism were amongst the formers and not of men. It was still an incredible, interesting body of legends, which always interested me deeply. Seeing how popular those black armor, described as armors of dark knights, are in Aaron, I am probably not all that unique in my interest in dark knights. I mean, they have a whole religion about it where a lot, I guess, a lot of formers or maybe some humans wear the piece as a amulet. I think a lot of people in Aaron actually call anyone that is dressed in black armor a dark knight. Legend of dark knights are a part of children's literature and seen as a fictitious stories, fictation, I don't know, stories meant to illustrate Paladins' omnipotence. Hey, it's like Paladins propaganda. However, I believe that these dark knights have more to them than the black armor they wear. They are not beings that were fabricated to illustrate the duality of darkness and light. I believe the dark knights are real beings. What? I mean, aren't they? Oh yeah, he doesn't know. He, like, I was gonna say what they are real, but he didn't went through what we went through, facing off against the Dark Knights in this whole war of humans and gods and dark versus light, chaos and destruction, creation, and all this nonsense. So he doesn't know, but we know that they exist because we met two of them, or maybe three, because I think Duncan told us he was one of them, and I think he begged us not to become one. I could be wrong though. I'm pretty sure I saw like a picture of it when he was telling us a flashback of it back then when we were doing the generation quest. Oh, real being. Furthermore, the Dark Knight's armor. The Dark Knight's armor, which was found amongst the relic of recent, do support my trajectory. The Dark Knight's armor is often described as, dude, this thing is like, I have 9 more pages. Pretty sure people already clicked out of this, but whatever, I'm going in. A spirit armor. According to ancient legend, I believe that makes the Dark Knight armor on the equivalent level of omnipotence as Paladin armor. I would believe so. If it's like spirit armor, just like the Paladin armor. Many people think of Dark Knights as fictitious characters, which were created out of people's boredom. But when actual pieces of Dark Knight's armor were discovered and studied as magic, the results were quite interesting. This is all because of all the hidden secrets behind Dark Knight's magic power, had everything to do with the armor itself. According to my finding, the Dark Knight armor is cast by a spell to fully protect the wearers from any and all external shock or attack. It is this spell that makes the material as well as color of the armor look and feel the way it does. The spell that shrouds the armor has the effect of separating the wearer from the external environment, so to speak, and the power of the armor is continually fed into the armor. Somehow independent of the wearer's awareness, this is the reason the Dark Knight armor is described as the armor of Blackness. I don't really understand. Let me read that. The spell that shrouds the armor has the effect of separating the wearer from the external environment, so to speak. Power of the armor is continually fed into the armor, somehow independent of the wearer's awareness. This is the reason Dark Knight armor is described as, I guess they're trying to say it's like a black hole, right? Because of blackness, it's like empty is a void, it's the abyss. And that's why it's continuously just sucking in energy and whatever resource it needs, and that it's black. I mean, that makes sense, unless they're talking about something else. In the ancient manuscript, that's because the magical power that shrouds the Black Knight armor takes the wearer to a mysterious abyss of blackness. I should have just kept reading. My answer will have been my question will have been answered. Well, there goes my theory. It was completely wrong. If this armor had been found in its full form, we wouldn't have to be studying the armor small pieces to find out more about its properties. In fact, all we have to do is just put on the armor to find out about the power of the armor, but we haven't had such luck as of yet. And those who study the Dark Knight armor, including myself, are in the meantime doing everything to try and locate a fully preserved Dark Knight armor. One thing that has been comforting is that we have been excavating many little pieces of the Dark Knight armor, one at a time. Some of the pieces have been destroyed to such an extent that there remains no trace of any magic or physical materials of the armor. In such case, we have had to analyze the material itself to see if the piece that we have excavated is in fact a remnant of the armor or not, basing on our speculation solely on the shape, but sometimes we will find small traces of magic remaining on the piece of armor that was found, which is in turn both a great reward as well as an excruciating process as we try to imagine and speculate the properties that the original magical spell, as well as how such a spell would have been shrouded upon this piece of armor. If there was a way for us to know how the Dark Knight armor is made, we probably wouldn't have to be struggling and speculating to the extent that we do. But I was lucky to have found my research partner and friend, Punbar. He had been investigating the secrets surrounding the armor of Blackness for almost a decade, and was a man of great intelligence and passion. Punbar wanted to compare and bring together our finding, and because of my deep curiosity to find the original shape of Dark Knight's armor, I agreed to his request. When we brought all our pieces together, we found that our pieces didn't really go together perfectly. That just means that the various pieces of armor that we had each gathered were coming from a number of different armor, and for what it was worth, we were finally able to physically see the general shape of the Dark Knight armor right before our eyes. Punbar and I were ecstatic, and that such a joyful moment led to me to entrust my armor piece to Punbar. Oh, dude, that was a terrible mistake, since he was one to think of bringing our piece together in the first place. I just took a specimen to experiment with on my own. We both left satisfied with this arrangement, and I made regular visit to Punbar twice a week. In fact, to examine the armor. Punbar took impressive care of the sample armor. In fact, it seems to have improved its condition over time. Oh, because it was regenerating, right? Because you need more piece for it to start regenerating. Part of the armor that had been corroded seemed to lose its dullness, and parts that didn't exactly connect to each other properly seems to find its own proper place on the body of the armor. It was looking better and better to the extent that it started to appear as if all the pieces had originally come from a single body of armor. Some months later, I heard through some of other research that the Dark Knight's armor was missing. I was at the time working on testing the correlation between suddenly rising power of the spell over the armor and changes of the season. When I heard the news, I have been hearing from the other research that there have been robberies of armor that have been pieced together by other researchers, but didn't really worry as I knew that Punbar was meticulous in his care of the armor, unless he was the one stealing. We continue on with our research, interpreting the newly found ancient war manuscript, which talks about the Dark Knights, and I was looking forward to doing translation myself as I have always been interested in ancient language. Translating document was not an easy task, but it was completely outside the range of my expectation. The content of the manuscript, however, did exceed my expectation because it provided an explanation for why the Dark Knight armor were always found broken into pieces. That, according to the manuscript, was because the only way to undo the spell of the armor is to destroy the armor itself. What does it mean to take away one's power by destroying the armor? Not the person wearing the armor. I don't see why they would go to all the trouble of destroying the armor, especially when considering the future generation who might want to wear the armor. So why is it that there are no armors that have been left in their original shape without being destroyed? Maybe they didn't want any more Dark Knights. With various reports of robberies amongst our fellow researcher came other disturbing news. One of them was that the robbers had murdered the researcher of the armor. Was there a paladin going around killing people? There were rumors that the robbers was conducting the perfect crime, leaving absolutely no trace of the researcher's body to be found anywhere. I began to worry about Punbar, and Punbar would comfort me by saying he was surrounded by paladin trainees who were protecting him. But whenever my anxiety would seem to settle, there would be news of another robbery with the same... Look, Punbar has to be the one robbing other people. There's no way it's not him. At this point, I'll be suspicious of him. But I'm like, well, it depends. How far away are the other armor that's being robbed? Voice crack. The other armor being robbed, is it nearby? And if it's just like, or is it in random places? Because if it's multiple cases nearby in this condensed area, then I'd be suspicious. Why have you not been robbed yet? Clearly, they will at least make an attempt. But no, but so far, it's like he's perfectly fine. So that one makes me suspicious that he's the one that's doing it. The same stories about the perfect crime committed by this hyper intelligence robber who left no traces behind. There was something ominous about all of this. I started to wonder if maybe this former did not want humans to keep investigating into the secrets of the dark world. If I were to continue with this research, could something bad happen to me too? These thoughts of anxiety, though, only affected me at night, and I was able to live my life without any major disruption, as I was able to convince myself that there was nothing to worry about. It was around then that I noticed that Punbar had become visibly weak. It is him. Is the armor wearing him? And it's making him do all this crime? It was around that time that I noticed that Punbar had become visibly weak, and it was turning increasingly sensitive. His complexion was looking dim. I was certain that he was affected by his anxiety, just as I was. The armor, on the other hand, was looking rather shiny and in good condition. It had been in such a good condition, I started to worry that our armor would be subject to the robber's interest eventually. Oh, you don't know. About a week later, the thing that I worried the most about actually came true. At the time, I was preoccupied with interpreting a poem about the armor of Blackness. The poem talked about how the armor of Blackness increased the wearer's desire to produce such power and materialize human's desire in the form of strength. Oh, is it Punbar's desire to find out more about the armor, so he went and robbed the other researcher and took therapy so he can study it more and have more information? Desire in the form of strength, but that, while it does so, it completely absorbs the wearer's own feeling and will. I begin to wonder if the armor could have such effect on the people who possess the armor, and started to consider whether Punbar's strange behavior as of late had something to do with the armor that we have put together for the purpose of finding its original shape. So that is why when I went to see Punbar, I had listened to Punbar's explanation in the first place. It was that very same night that Punbar disappeared along with the armor. I found all the Paladins training in front of Punbar's house severely injured. I wonder if Punbar had been kidnapped, locked along with the armor by some mysterious power, but I also wonder if the armor had affected Punbar himself in some way. Perhaps the magic power of the piece of armor had spellbound him to piece the armor together, only to eventually put it on himself. Of course, this theory doesn't necessarily explain the disappearance of the other researcher, but I mean, yes it does. It means he did it himself. If the armor could make him do that much, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't hesitate to kill the other people. Perhaps that is the curse of the Dark Knights. I cannot say for certain, but that is what I feel. And if there is no other way to confirm this hypothesis, I'll go to the formers in the dungeon who supposedly wear these armor as their amulet to find out. After Punbar disappeared, I've been thinking about taking my assistant Pintan and start it over with the piece of armor we have found together. This is the end of my master, Wallace, records. My master disappeared with the armor that he had pieced together. Oh, this is what happened to him too. So both Punbar and Wallace both got taken over by their armor, and we have yet to find any traces of him or the armor. I do not want to think that my master had fabricated such a situation just to prove his conviction about this topic. So if that is the case, I am left to draw just one possible conclusion. There is a number of mysterious secrets that surrounds these armor of Blackness. One of the secrets being that the armor are capable of casting curse upon us. If any of you readers are to come across a demon or an object that appears to be a piece of armor, I would recommend that he or she consider the content of this book. And if you, by choice, see my master anywhere, I sincerely hope that you will let me know. I don't know, man. If what you tell me or told me about the armor is true, I doubt I can just knock him out. Probably have to kill him. I will not hesitate to if it comes for my life, though. But yeah, that was the armor of Blackness that we learned about. And there's a lot of reading, and my throat is killing me. But yeah, I'll probably just stop here. I'll talk about it in the next episode, maybe. Unless I forget. Anyways, thanks for watching. Love you guys. Stay safe. And see you later.